Welcome to another session of the International Crimes Investigative Committee. Today we will take a closer look at the United Nations, which many people are aware of, that they are supposed to become the one world government as proclaimed in the Great Reset. So what is the United Nations about, and who do we talk to? Well, our interview partner is a former high-ranking member of the United Nations. His name is Călin Georgescu. It is best to talk to someone who knows from personal experience what he's talking about, rather than to talk to someone who just has ideas about what is going on inside the United Nations.
Well, I serve this institution 17 years, almost 18. I started in Romania, in the United Nations Development Program, which gave to me the chance to understand, first of all, the system. I was director to coordinate the Romanian National Sustainable Development Strategy and Local Agenda 21, which I did for almost 40 counties in Romania. Then I arrived to different, let's say, events in New York and after that in Geneva, in many other countries, and I arrived also in the board for Europe in the United Nations Environmental Program. I had a chance to have many meetings, many interviews, and particularly to understand how is running this system. But I had a chance to arrive, let's say, to the key people to understand how can work this train. I was absolutely sure that the United Nations is a fantastic institution which can help the people and the welfare and the human being, and to be a good life, to have a good life, and everything to be in harmony with the nature. Because this is my background, environmental protection. So based on my background, of course, I arrived to United Nations, and I arrived to be, let's say, call it a specialist in sustainable development. But later on, of course, I find how, in fact, the things are moving. Because particularly when you are going in the field, you find the reality. The reality is not from the office, not from the newspaper, not from the TV. It's from the ground. In the ground, I find that the most important part of the game, that the nature, the gods, the universe, give to us everything we want. Everything. So he can cover all our needs, but it's impossible to cover our greed. And the greed is not from the majority of the people. The greed is coming from a small part of the people. The main important cause is the oligarch, the world oligarch system.
Are they the one who control?
They want to have the control. And for this reason, UN is the platform, the bridge for the oligarchy system to control.
And the oligarchs are the ones who gather once a year in Davos, the members of the World Economic Forum?
Of course, this UN platform for 2030 with Davos agenda. UN was set up in 1945 with one simple purpose: to keep the peace. What a fantastic purpose. The problem is not this. The problem is that in different meetings, which I participate myself, I have seen the peace very small, like a Cinderella in a corner. And she wait to have a chance to speak. And she never had this chance. She's waiting, she's waiting. And in fact, all the discussions, they were for war. But they don't say war.
And why is
it was
that?
very manipulated.
Yes, everything stood on its head, right?
Exactly. And
when they say peace, they mean war. When they say justice, they mean injustice.
This is the point. Exactly like in sustainable development. I have been to most of the meetings, and official and unofficial, and negotiation. I can tell you how is the results. The results is that in the end of the day, is just one conclusion: how we can increase the consuming. And sometime, of course, many of the events, the most important is the gala dinner, how we can arrive to the food. So to increase only the consuming side, it's very dangerous. Because in fact, this was exactly the same situation with the Club of Rome, another important NGO.
And you were also a member of the Club of Rome.
And also I was the president for Europe of the Club of Rome for almost 2.5 years in Vienna, in Austria.
And you encountered the same problem there.
Exactly, because they approach this vision that it's a limit. I mean, they find at that time that we are going too fast and too dangerous.
Exploiting the resources of the planet.
Yes, but in what sense? In a sense of greed. One is to exploit the natural resources, for example, in Ghana or in Guinea-Conakry. Why I say Guinea-Conakry? Because Guinea-Conakry, as I have seen myself in all the planet I have been, is one of the most richest country in the world. And it's very small, very small, but it's fantastic rich.
I had no idea.
Fantastic, the best top of gold and other natural resources that are in Guinea-Conakry. So Guinea-Conakry, if they want to exploit the natural resources for themselves, this is fine. But if there are coming others from outside, this is a problem. So here we are with a natural resources exploitation, because majority of the countries in the world, they have no control for their own natural resources. It's exactly the system controlled by Davos, particularly with the same agenda as UN, exactly as I told you. And they control the natural resources, and people on the power, because I cannot say leaders, because it doesn't exist political leaders. People which they have the power, they are their employees. The world oligarchic system, they have the power on Europe because they control all the people like Bundeskanzler or president or prime minister or whatever there are. Because they are not the employee of their people.
They work for the other side.
Exactly.
They work for the oligarchs.
There are employees of the oligarchs.
What you're saying is that the UN is now indistinguishable from the World Economic Forum, or Davos in short, because it is being controlled by the same ideas and the same oligarchs.
Totally, 100%. Totally.
And the World Economic Forum, in turn, creates their leaders, who are then going to be elected by us through their Young Global Leaders program.
This is the point. In general, in United Nations, there are coming people which they check before if they are politically correct. But you have to be 100% totally correct, totally politically correct. If you are not, you cannot be in. They try to control you by salary.
Paying you a lot of money.
By different offers, in a sense that you have free access to the transport, free access to the restaurants, free access to different things. And in fact, it's a badge. UN badge does mean that you are someone important in comparison with the people from the street.
Oh.
You know, this, I mean.
So they make you feel not just richer than the people on the streets, but superior to them.
Exactly like in the banking system. Look to the young people who there are employees in the bank. He, in his car, he can see on the street his friend. I said, sorry, I have no time for you. I'm someone. I'm the banker. So they invest in manipulate the mind of the people. And in the moment when you manipulate the mind of the people, they sell their soul.
So even though they may have started out with good intentions, they choose people who, as you said, are completely in line and are willing to sell their souls.
Correct. Exactly. They don't like to you or to your life to be beautiful, to be harmony. They like just the black. You have to be under control. With other words, you know, Darwin said to us that we are coming from animals. The new Darwins,
The descendants of monkeys.
they said they are coming from robots. And here we are. I mean, we discussed about the transhumanist process, which those people, they want to impose. And how they can impose. They impose it when the people totally believe that this system internationally, which is somewhere high from you, take care about you. And only if what they are saying you have to respect, which is wrong, as they are trying to push us to dictate everything about our health. How can be someone to dictate about me?
And that's another NGO. That's the World Health Organization. It's just another NGO. No one there was elected by anyone.
No, they are just nominate.
Yes.
They are nominate in general the people who there are totally slave in their mind.
Yeah, that's the only reason I can find why someone like Tedros, who in his own country has committed crimes, why this man becomes the chairman of the World Health Organization. Only because no one elected him, but he's nominated.
You know what? I met him in Geneva for a meeting, and he was exactly the definition of the slave.
Ha!
In the year of 60 was the great legend in United States, Malcolm X. Malcolm X was the leader against the slavery, remember? And
He was the leader of the Black Panther movement, I believe.
Exactly. And he was assassinated, by the way.
Yeah.
Exactly the same situation as with Kennedy. Because he said house nigger and field nigger. The house nigger, what does mean this?
The Uncle Tom.
Exactly. He said we, all the time is we. We does mean you as slave together with your boss. And you are we. You don't say my boss, you said we.
Yeah.
I mean, because he is part of the system, house nigger, which does mean the slave who is totally dedicated to the boss, even that is Brussels or is Washington, European Union, whatever. It's the same. And the field nigger, the people which they don't want their country to be a field for others.